asking that you united the regional sales team with the national sales
Oh,
team. So
yeah.
what
Okay.
was the
So I'm
situation
sorry.
prior to that?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
It's
apologize.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I was responsible for the sales team that handles kind of the boots on the ground, right? They handle the accounts that are in
Mhm.
their back door, in their backyard. They handle big accounts, small accounts, but mostly their accounts in the backyard. Then there's a national sales team, and they handle the big dogs. So let's say you're the national sales team, and one of your accounts is Lockheed Martin or Boeing. But I'm
Mhm.
a hotel sales manager, and I have Boeing in my backyard, and Boeing's staying at my hotel, and I have some local contacts with Boeing, but I don't really work with it on a
Mhm.
national level. So we had this big gap,
Mhm.
and the national people didn't want to communicate with the local people, and so it's always a battle in hotels. So we had to get everybody on board. So we had to make sure at trade shows and during trainings, we would have trainings where we would bring the national sales team in with the
Mhm.
regional team, and we would have
Mhm.
like round tables. And during the round table,
Okay.
someone would say, well, I'm working on Boeing, and guess what? The national sales manager is here. So national sales manager, how can I work with you so that I can get more people into Boeing? And they could have one-on-one conversations and dig in together to find out how they could get into the account. Before that, it was very
Mhm.
separate. Before that, it was very like, I'm the national account manager for Boeing. I know what I'm doing. You're just a little peon regional salesperson. But I had to pull them together so they understood that working together, they would both generate more revenue and they would both end up making their goals. But we had to like have trainings together and have dinners together and kind of build a bond of respect. But
Mhm.
it's always a battle.
Okay, great. And so, having both of these teams united, so, what benefits were they able to achieve? Like, did achieving their goal is one thing, or like, did they overachieve on their targets, or what?
It depended on the hotel and it depends on the salesperson, right?
Okay.
If you have a really good
Yeah.
salesperson, then yes, it would help them increase their goal and increase the amount of sales to the hotel. If you had someone who was crappy, it might
Mm-hmm.
not, the difference might not be there. But normally,
Mm-hmm.
it meant that they had an increase in revenue to the hotels from those national accounts.
Okay. Okay, perfect. And then, okay, and then I think this designing and implementing of the onboarding program for new sales team members was something we already discussed.
Yep.
Okay. And so, as a regional director, were you involved in penetrating new territories as well? Or like, did you reach out to new regions or did you have to expand to new regions? Or were you only responsible for the territories assigned to you?
When we lost our director for a few months, my territory
Mm-hmm.
expanded. So I was doing just like West Coast, and then I ended up doing West Coast and the
Mm-hmm.
Midwest. So
Uh-huh.
I had to learn. I'd never been to Minnesota before, so I had to learn the market in Minnesota. Who are because I have to know what my
Mhm.
sales rep knows, right? So I got to know what's the
Yeah.
season for Minnesota travel. Who are those accounts? What businesses in Minnesota? What happens during the winter?
Mhm.
Same thing with Oklahoma. Suddenly, I've never been to Oklahoma, and all of a sudden, I have to know about all the fairs going on in Oklahoma, all the all the events that feed into the city, all the businesses. So I would have to, every time I got a new territory, I had to learn what the accounts were in their backyard. I had to know who the accounts were in
Okay.
Dallas, Texas. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then conducted interviews, hired new sales team members, and organized the hire process and trainings. So yeah, so what do you mean by organizing the new hire process? Like, what sort of hiring were they having earlier to having an organized process?
So it goes back kind of to our onboarding training. But
Mm-hmm.
we were kind of scattered with who interviews potential candidates. And so it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of, is it the general manager? Is it the sales man? Is it the regional sales manager? So I streamlined it. So it was the regional sales manager first. Then it went to the hotel level and they interviewed them. Then it was, okay, yes, this person's going to be hired. Then it went over to HR for all of their paperwork. So there was an order that everything went into, right? Then once they got on
Mm-hmm.
board, okay, when they get on board, if they sell for multiple hotels, which hotel do they start with to learn? How do we make sure that they feel like they're a part of the team and they're not stretched too thin?
Mm-hmm.
Which hotels do they
Mm-hmm.
focus on first? All of that stuff.
Okay. Okay, and so the sales team that you had, did you have to create it from scratch? Like, did you hire them, or was that assigned to you when you joined the position? But no, you said the position was created. It was a new position.
Yeah.
So did you have to
So
hire the team?
it's some of it. So I hired probably half
Mm-hmm.
of my sales team, and the other half came with the job. I had to
Mm-hmm.
let go. I had to let go of people who were already there and replace them with new sales reps. I had to hold
Mm-hmm.
people accountable who weren't making their goals.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, some reps were mine that came with the position, and some I hired myself.
Okay. Okay. Great. And this is interesting that you created educational breakouts for annual conferences. So yeah. So what sort of activities or what sort of breakouts were those?
Okay, so this has been a long time, but yes. So we had
Uh-huh.
conferences. During the conference, I held a training to train the general managers on how to sell. So if they felt like
Mm-hmm.
they didn't know anything about sales, I trained the general managers how
Mm-hmm.
to sell the hotel. We did
Mm-hmm.
breakout trainings for our own sales team. One time we focused on selling to national accounts. Other times we would
Mm-hmm.
focus on, how to take a big account like a Boeing or a Lockheed Martin and peel it back to find out all the different key players. So I hosted trainings on
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And resolve conflicts and negotiated agreements between parties. So, what sort of conflict negotiation was there or conflict resolution?
So a lot of times you have conflict between the general manager and the sales person. Maybe the general manager
Mm-hmm.
feels like the salesperson isn't spending enough time on their hotel, and they want that, and
Mm-hmm.
oh well, they're spending more time selling that hotel. Then maybe that salesperson is struggling with the team members, such as the front desk at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So the salesperson saying, oh,
Mm-hmm.
they're not tracking it correctly, and how do we train the front desk to understand the importance of tracking the accounts when they come in? Or a sales
Mm-hmm.
coordinator, maybe a sales coordinator and the regional sales manager aren't getting along. Just your constant day-to-day
Yeah.
manager crap.
Okay.
just people
Yeah.
being people,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And then, okay. So, then anything else from this role of yours that you think we haven't discussed or, yeah?
No, I can't think of anything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so one thing I forgot to ask is that did you have to develop some sales strategies, in terms of having social media campaigns for the hotel, or were you
No,
involved in those activities as well?
they had a whole separate marketing division for that.
Okay, okay, makes sense. Okay, and so then you were the regional sales manager at La Quinta Management. So yeah, so when you joined the company, so how were things back then, and what did you have to change or improve in terms of strategies or the way they were handling sales?
Yeah, so that's why we changed a lot when I was promoted, because when I started, there wasn't a really good onboarding program.
Mm-hmm.
The general managers didn't really understand what the role of the sales rep was. Um, the hotels, would be needy. Oh, I want the sales rep to be here all the time, but I was selling for 3 or 4 hotels. Just kind of
Mm-hmm.
that relationship that regional sales manager has with having multiple bosses, right? Which is why we streamlined
Yeah.
it more once I got promoted.
Okay. Okay, and so you have mentioned formalized sales process to enhance operations and promote acquisition of new customers. So, what do we mean by formalizing the sales process here?
Um, just that it was kind of unprofessional.
Mm-hmm. Haphazard.
It was kind of unprofessional when I started, and I had to, just take it up a notch, and
Mm-hmm.
using the CRM that we had, um, making sure that the general managers had reports every week. I had to
Mm-hmm.
train the team at the hotel how to do a site tour. So if a big
Okay.
company came in, or even a small company wanted to come in and see the hotel, and I wasn't there, I needed everybody at the front desk to know that they too are salespeople and how to give a site tour. So
Yeah.
formalizing, okay, I don't just say, oh, here's a room key. So that the person at the front desk knows when I give a site tour, I'm going to follow these steps, and I actually had a form for them to fill out. I also created
Mm-hmm.
a form for them. Let's say that they're at the front desk and someone comes in and says, yeah, I'm checking in. I'm with Monster Energy Drink. And the
Mm-hmm.
person at the front desk has an opportunity to capture that lead, right? Oh, they don't normally stay with us. They normally stay
Yeah.
over there. So what am I going to do
Mm-hmm.
to find out more and get that information so I can pass it to the salesperson, because this could be a big account for us, right? So I created a
Yeah.
program that taught them how to ask the right questions and reward them. So if they asked the right questions and
Mm-hmm.
they filled out a form,